right, folks, skin cancer is real. Now, what often happens is when we hear these stories about melanoma, we often think that that largely affects white folks. Nope, black people can be affected by skin cancer as well. You've seen it. We go to the beach, we on the golf course, if we go, yeah, all right, well, we good. I ain't got to put on no sunscreen. Yes, you do, because we can be impacted as well. And so it's important for us to understand the realities of melanoma and how it also impacts us more than a lot of other people. We talked here from the Journal of the American Academy of Dermatology. Black men are 26% more likely to die from melanoma than white men. Nearly 50% of black men in the study were first diagnosed after the disease advanced to the late stages. Very similar when you talk about breast cancer. Joining us right now is family medicine specialist, Dr. Michael Burkhart, joining me from Jackson, Mississippi. Doc, glad to have you here. Again, what this sounds like is like everything else, okay? We get it less than somebody else, yet when we get it, because we find out late, more of us die and we die faster.
That's right. Absolutely. And I appreciate you having me on, Brother Roland. And that's very interesting. I reviewed some of the articles on this and from the American Academy of Dermatology. And like you said, there was a study done with 200,000 people, and they found that the 5-year survival rate in men with melanoma, the 5-year survival rate was highest for white men at around 75% compared to black men. With a survival rate of 52%. And then American Indian, Alaskan, Asian, and Hispanics were somewhere in between in the 60s. And that's a very notable difference, because most people, Roland, most people would think, well, because I have an extra amount of melanin, then I can't get skin cancer. But that is one of the biggest misnomers in our community that we have.
And we talk about how to protect ourselves. Look, I play golf all the time. I like to walk, so you're out there, you're in the sun. And I can tell you, it's rare when I play with brothers, they're putting on sunscreen.
Absolutely, yes. And that's a great point that you brought out. And one of the things that makes this very difficult, and some would even consider the bias in this, is that melanoma, especially with us in the African American community, starts on the palms of the hands, the soles of the feet, which are areas that one would think are not exposed to the sun as much. And that's why a lot of times it makes diagnosis so difficult, because...
Hold up, palms of the hand and soles of the feet?
Absolutely. Yes, sir. I was looking over this American Academy of Dermatology. We're reviewing that, and it's called ALM, acrolitiginous melanoma, where it starts on those parts, and that's why it's most often undiagnosed. And then it's not until there's a significant spread, and then you start the staging process, which then the mortality rate increases while you don't see it. And just real quick, just to be clear, there are three different types. There are three different types of skin cells we're looking at: squamous cell, basal cells, and melanocytes. It's the melanocytes, which has a pigment for melanin. That's what we're talking about. That's causing melanoma. Three very important key points right there.
All right. So if we're gonna be out there, like I see some people when they're out there playing golf, and they'll have their arms will be covered. I see some people covering their legs. Well, I'm like, man, that's hot as hell. So if we don't want to cover our skin, so what is it? And also, what type of sunscreen? I've heard all different ones. You see all these different numbers. Is it 50 or higher? Is it 70 or higher? Like, what's the right sunscreen protection we should be wearing?
That's a great question, Roland. And actually, at the minimum, you want to have a 30% SPF. You definitely want to have that. You definitely want to cover the extremities as every time as much as possible. So your arms, your legs. I know it's a lot of times it's so hot it's difficult to do that, but that's going to be a significant factor in reducing your chance of getting this terrible skin cancer. But definitely SPF minimum 30, but as the higher the better. It's a directly proportional factor. The higher SPF, the lower your chances of coming down with skin cancer, contracting this terrible disease.
Questions from the panel. Let's see here. Randy Julian Randy. Let's see. Oma Congo, you go first.
Well, Doctor, I really want to thank you for this information. And my real question is, can you please just end the debate over whether shea butter and coconut oil actually work as sunscreen?
Well, I think that's a very interesting question. It's like I said, it's really about the SPF in the product. So if you happen to have a product that is a shea butter or a shea moisture, those kind of things that's contained in the sunscreen, then hey, by all means have at it. But if you're just sitting around and slapping some cocoa butter on your face, that ain't gonna cut it.
Thank you.
Julian,
Also,
go ahead, Doc.
Well, I just really wanted to point out, Roland, just very briefly, that in the diagnosis of this, and especially since COVID, and this is from my personal experience as a hospitalist, caring for people full time in the hospital and also opening my own clinic now in Jackson, Mississippi, that of course, because of the lower socioeconomic status and all those things that we're very familiar with, and especially in men are a lot less likely to go. And everybody that I've treated in Jackson and my entire career in medicine, there's two things. There's two reasons why men go to the doctor. One, because their mother or their wife is forcing them, and two, because they have a problem with their penis. That's the only reason why men go to the doctor.
And he just being real. Julian, go.
Brother, first of all, Doc, thanks for your work. We appreciate you. I have a lifelong battle to knock the yellow off. I am truly always trying to get a tan. Now, what's the safest way for me to get a tan if I got to do this SPF thing?
Well, I think the safest way, there's definitely, if you want to go to the tanning bed, the tanning salon, you want to go there, but you want to minimize your time. You want to minimize your exposure, because certainly you can increase your chances of contracting this. And so when you go to the tanning salon, usually they have like a timer on there, but usually the recommended time, 15, 20 minutes.
No, I don't
you want to
go to the setting. I don't go to the tanning salon. I want to sit outside and give me a nice natural tan. So how can I do that?
Yes.
Be safe. Be safe.
Okay, being safe, then definitely, having, so like I said, a minimum SPF 30, but the higher you go, the better. It's directly proportional, but still minimizing your exposure, to that sun. For example, people on the beach and they're using those huge umbrellas that a lot of times with the hotels and all that on the beach, it's great if you can sit up under that for the majority of the time. Then you take that 15 minutes, go outside, on your back and then on your stomach, and then come on back in and get outside of those harmful sun rays. So that's the main thing. You can definitely do it, but you just want to make sure that you minimize your exposure while you're out there.
So if I'm playing golf 3 to 4 times a week and I'm walking, it's 4 hours around, I'm in the sun.
Absolutely.
And I'm wearing sunscreen, but what should I be doing something else?
Well, so if you're out there for 4 hours, Roland, well then, like you said, you got your highest SPF. You're out there having a good time. You just want to be mindful to make sure to take what I like to call shade breaks. Whether you're getting under the golf cart, you get sitting up on the golf cart taking a water, a Gatorade break, or standing up under one of those big oak trees, and just making sure you're mindful that you're not out in continuous direct sunlight. You can still do all the things you love to do, play all the rounds of golf, 18 holes, everything, but just making sure to not stand out there, because like you said, that's one of the biggest things, one of the myths. You say, well, we're African American, darker pigmented people. I don't have to worry about it. I can just stand out here, have fun with my buddies and play golf. You just really want to be mindful, because as we're discussing, we definitely get it too, and our survival rate is lower and our mortality rate is higher.
And hold up, before I go to Randy, also, how often do we reapply the sunscreen?
So in some of the research that I was doing, they were recommending every 45 to 60 minutes, but they said based on the temperature, based on what you're doing, it could be more or less. So I guess there's not really a hard set rule on that, but I would say just to give you a straight answer, you're playing 4 hours of golf. Hey, every hour, every 60 minutes, you're making sure that you're definitely taking a 10-minute break, reapplying every hour if you can do that.
Got it, Randy.
Doctor, thank you for this information. I found it fascinating that it shows up on the palms of our hands and feet. What should we be looking for? I mean, I would think it would be helpful for us to early detection. So what would I see?
Well, so sometimes you'll see like a darkened area, and that's the thing with melanoma. Most people look at it, they think about like a little, black circle. But the main thing is, we don't want people to get alarmed. A lot of people have, they'll mistake skin tags and moles and all that kind of thing. It's not about, okay, every little thing. Oh my, do I have skin cancer?
Right.
So this is usually like a macular type of thing. It's a flat, not really like a raised or jagged. It's a small area, usually circular or oval. But then the problem is, and the thing that you want to be most cautious about when you see the change in the edges, they talk about the edges where sometimes there's like a dimpling there, or they'll look more rough. And that's some of the hallmark features about melanoma, which differentiates it from squamous cell skin cancer, which you see 75-80% of the time in Caucasians, where you'll see a lot of time on their forehead, ears, nose, those areas that we see all the time, and they're constantly getting those areas addressed and going to the dermatologist. The melanoma is darker, it'll be more circular, ovoid, and then you'll look at those edges when they start to change. And lastly, the studies also showed, American Academy of Dermatology also again, and American Journal of Medicine, that at 18 years old, when you go for your annual exam, you need to also be doing an annual skin exam, making sure that the physician, a nurse practitioner, or physician assistant is also doing a thorough evaluation of your skin.
All right. So last question. So if folks are on the beach, if they're on, black folks running around, being on yachts and stuff along those lines, how much time are they out there? Are they because you just said, 30? Because I'm telling you, I know some people, they go to the beach and Lord, they laying out there for 4, 6, 8 hours. That would drive my ass insane. just sitting there. I couldn't do all that. So what is it?
Well, like I said, I think optimally, Roland, if we're just at the optimum, if you're sitting out there like the young lady was saying before, like she likes to go out and tan and be on the beach, if you could do this, recommending on every hour on the hour. But like you said, I know that that's not realistic, but at the very least, every 2 hours, because especially you can, depending on what type of sunscreen, whether it's lotion, more of a cream, the consistency of it, you'll see it dissipate or, dry, and it's going away on the skin. When you see that, some of them, like I said, you just got to read the label. If it's gone away or it's dry, that doesn't mean it's gone. You're still getting protection. But then there are some that are more, I guess, moist, if you will. And so you just have to be mindful of that. It's hard to do. And like you said, most people won't do that every hour on the hour. But that if a person is able to do that, that would be an excellent way of preventing this disease.
All right, then. All right. Well, look, we appreciate Dr. Bookhart. Thanks so much for the advice.
Thank you, sir. Appreciate you having me.